All right. So here, so you found out how to solve for given variables. Now, a common thing is you're going to see formulas from different classes like business or economics and physics, chemistry, all those different classes, you'll have equations. And in those classes, you'll have to solve for different variables in those equations. So let's give you one. One of the common formulas that you'll see in economics is for simple interest. All right, so here it says you deposit $500 in an account that earns simple interest. After 3 months, the account earns $8 in interest. What is the annual interest rate? So you have I is going to be interest, P is going to be the principal, like the beginning, how much you deposit in the beginning. R is the annual, notice annual, so yearly interest rate, and this is going to be in decimals, right, not in percents. T is going to be time in years. All right. So what is the annual interest rate? So we're looking for R, right? So what we need to do is, just like before, we're going to focus on R. Everything else, the P, the T, those are not needed. No, not needed on the right side. All right, so we're going to solve for R. So what operations do we have here? We have times P and times T. Now they're both multiplication, so you can divide by P and then both sides by P and then divide both sides by T, or you can just divide both of them at the same time. All right, which I recommend. So P and T, P and T. See, these cancel out. Done. And we get R equals the interest divided by the principal times the time. All right. So now let's jot down what we know. Okay, so from this word problem, an important number we have is $500. So you deposit. Okay, that's your principal. That's how much you started with. $500 in an account that earns simple interest. What is the annual? Oh, after 3 months. Okay, and notice this one says months, not years. Okay, so our time is not 3, because 3 is not, it's not 3 years, it's 3 months. And it's blurry. And still blurry. There we go. So notice that it's months and not years. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to find out how many years is 3 months. Okay, what percent or what decimal of a year is 3 months? So the way we do that is we have 3 months. And how many months are there in a year? There's 12 months. Okay. So 3 divided by 12, that's going to give us 1/4. 1/4 of a year. Or 0.25. All right, whatever you want to use. I'm going to use a decimal just because it's a nice decimal, and we're going to use a calculator. So let's see, what else do they tell us? The account earns $8 in interest. So the interest is $8. All right, there we go. So now we have our values. Let's substitute them. Interest is 8. P is 500. Notice how I'm putting in parentheses because it's multiplying by the t. So our t is 0.25. So now we just have to calculate this. 8 divided by 500 times 0.25. Okay, don't do this. Okay, I'm going to show a common mistake that students make, and adults too. Okay, you might do 8 divided by 500 times 0.25. Okay, and that's going to give you 4 to the negative third, 4 times 10 to the negative third power. All right, no, that's not it. So what we have to do is we have to put parentheses for the denominator. Okay, so we're going to do 8 divided by, and then you have to find your parentheses in your calculator, parentheses, and then now we can do the 500 times 0.25, and then close parentheses. And so that 125 is 500 times 0.25. All right, and then we hit equals, and we get 0.0064. That's our interest rate, and that's in decimals. All right, but usually they want it to, so this is good. Now if you want it in percent form, to change a decimal to a percent, you just have to move the decimal 2 spaces to the right. Right, so 1, 2, it's going to be in between the 6 and the 4, and you get 6.4%. All right, now this is how you will see it. Okay, but when we calculate it, we need it in percent form. All right, that's that. And now, here's another problem. It says Sonic averages 60 miles per hour while running to Tails' house, and 45 miles per hour coming back. Probably he was eating a chili dog on the way. And the total running time is 7 hours. How long does each trip take? Okay, so this is a common word problem that you might see. And notice that we have the rate, his speed, and his time. Okay, rate and time. So we're missing the distance. Okay. So a distance equals rate times time. That's a common formula. Now, it says the total time is 7 hours. We want to find the distance. Okay. So usually you would think, we need to solve for d. But here we have 2 different speeds, right? Now, notice that the total time it takes is 7 hours. So the time going there and the time coming back, all right, if you add those 2 together, you're going to get 7 hours. All right, and these are subscripts, going and coming. All right, so what we need to do is we need to solve for t here. So this is t times r. Okay, so we need to get rid of this r times r. Opposite of multiplying by r is dividing by r. So we divide by r on both sides. These cancel out. We get t equals d over r. All right, so for t going, right, going was 60 miles. So it's going to be d divided by 60 miles. And t coming, so the time coming is d divided by And his rate that time was 45 miles per hour. Equals 7 hours. Alright, so we have a fraction plus a fraction equals 7. Now notice that the denominators are not the same. No! So let's get common denominators. If you're good with this stuff, and you can say, hey, they both have 15 in them. So 60 divided by 15 is 4. 45 divided by 15 is 3. So I can multiply this one by 3 on the top and the bottom. And here we can multiply this by 4 on the top and the bottom. And you'll get your common denominator as well as a nice numerator for those two. If you don't see that, okay, don't worry. An easy way to do this, but it's going to give you big numbers, so just be warned. An easy way to do this is just multiply by the other denominator. So our denominators are 60 and 45. So let's multiply this one by the other denominator, which, oh, hold on, let me put this in the next line. So our other denominator is not, so other than 60, our denominator is 45. So let's multiply that by 45 on the top and the bottom. And here our denominator is 45. The other denominator is 60. So we're going to multiply the top and bottom by 60. All right. Be warned, I said we're going to get big numbers, and we will. So 60 times 45, I'm going to say that's going to give us 6 times 4 is 24, and then 6 times 5 is 30, so 2,700 over 45 times d, or 45d, plus 60 times d over 2,700 equals 7. Right, so now the denominators are the same, so now we can add 45 plus 60 is going to give us 105d over 2,700 equals 7. Now let's solve for d. We're going to get rid of that divided by 2,700 by multiplying by 2,700 on both sides. And 7 times 2,700 is 18,900. And now we need to get rid of that times 105. So we divide both sides by 105. And when you do that, watch this. You get d equals 180. So the distance is a nice 180 miles. And how do we know it's miles? Because it's miles per hour for the rate, so miles. Okay, so that's our distance. Now we can find out what the time is. Okay, so t going there was d divided by 60. T coming back is d divided by 45. So now we know our d now. So let's replace that for the d's here. So t going, time going was 180 miles divided by 60 miles per hour, and we end up getting, I believe that's 4. I'm just kidding, it's 3 hours. And coming back is 180 divided by 45. And this one is 4. And that's it. So can we check? 3 plus 4 is 7. Looks good.